Because there have been about 3 or 4 times that I have come on the wrong Tuesday or the wrong day.
It is 2 o'clock, and I'm going to call the Tarpon Springs City Code Enforcement Board meeting to order of April 9th, 2015. Our invocation will be led by our Attorney Trask.
Yes, we can stand for those who can. Thank you. Our Heavenly Father, we seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We pray that our work this afternoon will find favor in your sight. Amen.
And the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was poor. I heard 2 voices, mine and yours.
That's because I'm so loud. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Vesey?
Here.
Ms. V. Casey?
Here.
Mr. Kramer?
Here.
Ms. Archer? Here. Mr. DeMassis?
Here.
Mr. Plunkett?
Here.
Mrs. Dabbs? Here. That completes your roll call, sir.
Thank you. Now I'm going to read the procedure for today's meeting. Code Enforcement Board Hearing Procedure. It is the intention of this board to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Tarpon Springs by providing an equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing various codes within the city of Tarpon Springs. Any aggrieved party may appeal a final administrative order of this board to the circuit court. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 days of the execution of the order to be appealed. Florida Statute 286.0105 requires any party appealing the decision of this board to have a record of the proceeding to support such an appeal. The procedure of this board follows with each case on its agenda is as follows. First, the city represents its witnesses and exhibits, after which the violator is able to ask the city's witnesses any specific questions regarding their testimony. Secondly, the violator is allowed to make a presentation and present any evidence or documents. Then the city can question the violator's witnesses. After both rounds of testimony, both on the part of the city and on the part of the violator, each party is asked to give a closing statement, first by the city, then by the violator. After those 3 steps are taken, this board then closes the public hearing portion of the case to discuss it and take appropriate action. Before we begin the public hearings, we will have all potential witnesses stand up and be sworn in by the secretary of the board. And at this moment, please turn off or silence your cell phones.
Raise your hands. Your testimony you're about to give us whole truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You can seat him.
First new business case of the day was complied. Second business case of the day was complied, and that brings us to our third case of the day, case number 15-800000112. And representing the city, we have
Officer Michael Roki.
Nice to meet you. And do we have anyone representing 1673C Breeze Drive? You go ahead and, hi. Yeah, you're welcome to come to the table and have you signed in?
Yes, I am, yes.
And then you're sworn in too?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and seat yourself and just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Mark Sarkis, 1673 Seabreeze Drive, Tarpon Springs.
Case numbers 15-800000112, 1673 Seabreeze Drive. It's for a repeat violator, Mark Sarkis. Have previous case numbers 14-800000473. That was the established case. The second case number is going to be 14-800000702 for a repeat violator. On 3/20/2015, received a complaint of tenant renting the property for 1 week, Mr. and Mrs. Doug Alsbury. On that same date, I went to complete an inspection, 1673 Seabreeze Drive. I spoke with Mark Sarkis, the property owner. He advised me he had originally rented this residence for 6 weeks. However, the renter changed their mind and only wanted to stay a week. Mark advised this was the last time it was going to be rented for less than the 6-week minimum, and he is going to put it up for sale at the end of April. He had said his wife and friends were going to come stay for a week towards the end of April, and after that, he is selling it. I spoke with the renter, Linda Alsbury, who was staying at the home. She advised her family had rented the home for a week. She said they only planned on staying a week, and it was never mentioned to them that they had to rent it for 6 weeks. Linda forwarded me the email confirmation for the rental property, and it clearly states March 14th through the 22nd, 2015. It's going to be repeat violator of City Codes Appendix A, Article 14, 241.00, definitions, 213 tourist homes, and 25.02 single-family residential district. On 3/20/2015, notice of a hearing of repeat violator was mailed first class and certified return receipt to the property owner of record, as determined by Pinellas County tax collector or by the Pinellas County property appraiser. On 3/26/2015, the property was posted. On 4/8/2015, upon my reinspection, I visited the residence. 3 out-of-state vehicles were parked in the driveway. Upon speaking with them, one of them told me that it was a cousin of Mark's and that they were staying for approximately a week. As of this point of 3/22/2015, the property remains in compliance. So this property is a repeat violator from March 20th to March 22nd, 2015 of City Codes Appendix A, Article 14, 241.00 definitions, 213 tourist homes, and 25.02 single-family residential district. Recommendation in this case of a repeat violator, the fine is not to exceed $500 per day from the date of violation. The last repeat violator case, fine amount was $100 per day. Oh, I'm sorry, $10 per day from September 25th, 2014 to October 30th, 2014. I also have the email from Ms. Alsbury that confirms that the rental date was for actually a week.
Would you like to submit that as exhibit?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we just need to show it to Mr. Sarkis? Any objection to that, sir, being received into evidence?
It's inaccurate, but no objection.
So you just need to receive into evidence.
We'll receive that into evidence then, please. Thank you. At this time, Mr. Sarkis, if you had any questions of Officer Roki, did I pronounce that right?
Yes. How were you even called to the address of the property that day?
We were called by Mr. Alsbury, and I believe you called also.
Exactly. That's what was the whole thing. I called 911 because he was threatening me. He said that if I don't give him.
Question, sir.
Okay.
You'll have your opportunity to speak.
Sure.
This is time to question the officer. Do you have
Okay.
any other questions of the officer?
No, I just wanted to clarify that who called the police? Property.
We got 2 calls. We got one from Mr. Alsbury and one from you.
Okay. Which was the first call?
I believe Mr. Alsbury was.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sarkis, it's your time to go ahead and make a presentation to the board.
Okay. Well, there's a couple things here. The ad clearly states, since I talked to Cindy back in September, that it's 6 weeks minimum. I have it printed out, And if you go back to the records, it hasn't changed since then. Everywhere across it, it says 6 weeks minimum, and it doesn't even allow you to even click on the buttons. VRBO doesn't allow anything only in 4-week increments. So you have to put 8 weeks in the system even to get it to give you a quote or call me. They called me directly and asked if they could book it for, you know, less than 8 weeks. I said, yes, 6 weeks. They said, okay. I sent them a confirmation for a deposit. Then they checked in the boxes that they wanted it less than that. They wanted it 8 days after I already had booked it. So they came in. They're the only people that have stayed in it since last summer when I was here in front of Mayor Archie with all my neighbors trying to talk to about this weekly rental thing. I've always been in compliance. I mean, I'm a business owner here in Tarpon Springs. I own a Bubbly Car Wash. I wash all your police cars. I wash your county cars. You know, I'm a upstanding citizen in the community. Since I had that conversation, it has not been rented less than the time required. I have relatives coming in. It was Easter. I have my wife and her friends staying, and then the house is on the market because I originally had the idea to make this a weekly rental. Since then, it's always been in compliance, and I've always been in compliance. This person called me and threatened me. That's why I called the police before the person did. I went out there. I was a little nervous. I told the police officer that he was here to go skeet shooting. He had tons of guns in there, and he said, if you don't give me a refund of what I paid you, you know, I'm going to make your life hell. This is a phone conversation. So I called the officers. They met me at the property, and that was prior to the 20th. I have to look at my records what day it was, but 3 officers went out with me to the property, and he already had left, Doug Ellsbury, and the wife was there. And we were there for a good half an hour. And then after that, now he's following through on what his threat was. But he totally had lied to me. These are all phone conversations. I mean, you can't even book it. If you go to VRBO and try it, it won't allow you to even enter the dates unless they require the 8-week minimum. And it's in the ad.
Would you like to submit that ad as
Sure.
evidence?
Again, this is the ad as of current. And if you go back to Cindy's, back in September when it says right across 6 weeks, it says 8 weeks. I mean, you can't even put dates in it unless it follows those.
Does that have to be approved? Where's the thing that he submitted? Is it right here?
Oh, I'm sorry. It got stuck with me. I was attempting to listen as carefully as I
Well,
could.
you were trying to get a phone call.
I silenced it, but somehow it overrode.
Yeah.
And again, if you have Miss Sanders' records, you'll see that that's
Hold
the
on a
exact
second, sir.
ad.
Hold
Okay,
on just a
I'm
second.
sorry.
Any objection from the city?
We did go online, and we did highlight a week that we wanted to stay, but it would have to be accepted by Mr. Sarkis. And I'm sure that's when we give payment. But you can go out and block a week off.
Okay, well, the question was, do you have any objection to that document being received into evidence?
No.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and accept that into evidence. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, as you can see on the document, it clearly says in at least 3 spots that 6-week minimum or 8-week minimum all across the top, the body, and in the calendar section. It says 8-week minimum. So for the Ellsburys to say that they didn't know, it's a outright lie.
Officer Roque, any questions for Mr. Sarkis?
No, sir.
Thank you.
I have a question. What's your normal practice in receiving your deposit for the rental? You receive 6 weeks in advance pay?
No, there's a deposit, either half deposit, it all depends on it's different circumstances, different people.
Okay,
the-
in this particular situation, did you receive payment for more than a week in advance?
No, I never would. That's usually too much for people to, you know, like an 8-week stay is close to $10,000. So I don't ever ask for $5,000 or $10,000 down. It's something that, especially if they're out of state, it's, you know, no one would be comfortable sending that kind of money, even though it goes through VRBO's credit card company.
How much money did you receive in advance for this, from this renter?
I have to look, but I think it was like $500.
Did they pay you for a week's stay?
Well, the final bill is due after, within 30 days of, 30 or 60 days of their stay. So it wouldn't have been paid after I had the deposit. That's when they told me that they didn't want to stay that long, and then they were negotiating the price down.
How much do they owe you?
How much did they owe me?
Yeah.
It was right around $2,000.
Okay, so how much does it cost to rent it for a week?
I don't have a weekly rental. I have it's right in there, $5,000 per month.
Okay.
There's not a bill that makes any sense.
And again, I was just getting through this season with, you know, my family coming in, and the whole goal is to just end this whole situation and just, you know, sell the home. I've had it for 14 years, and I outgrew it from my family, but we have 3 children. We moved inland a little bit to a bigger house. We tried to keep this and do the vacation rental, which did very well in the fact that it brought in a lot of business here. I mean, everybody who stayed there were like either a couple or maybe a couple with 2 or 3 children. I never allowed any of the big party houses. The room wasn't there to have wedding parties and things like that. What spawned all this problem on Seabreeze was the end house being a large house and having, you know, wedding parties and things that were disturbing to the neighboring residents. You know,
Okay.
my house.
Mr. Sarkis, if I may kind of draw it all
Sure.
together, this would like to give a closing statement for each side. I think we've heard everything, unless you had anything special to add.
No.
Okay, Officer Sarkis, would you like to make a closing statement, sir?
Officer Roki.
I'm sorry, Miss Officer Rook.
He's been a repeat violator. It is in compliance at this point, and I guess from the 20th to the 22nd, he wasn't in compliance. So we're just requesting a $500 fine for each day he wasn't in compliance.
And a closing statement, Mr. Sarkis?
I don't understand what the repeat violator was, because the only time I ever had a violation or was when we, as residents, didn't even know that this was happening. So when was I a repeat violator?
This isn't a question and answer time. This is a
Okay.
time for you to give your summary. Do you have anything
Well, there's
else?
2 things there's 2 issues here. There's that my website wasn't up to date, and I don't understand what is the violation? Is it the violation of having somebody stay there less than 6 weeks? When was my first offense? Because I don't even know when that
Repeat
happened.
was already repeated, because we're kind of moving into a discussion and not a closure.
Yeah, it's time to present evidence. If you were the judge and the jury, you would not allow a witness to ask you questions about the law and the case. He needs to present his own case. The city needs to present their case. You're to gather that information and make a decision. If he has questions about the law itself, he can hire an attorney, or he can talk to code enforcement after the hearing. So,
Okay, agreed. So just a closing statement, no questions, please.
Okay, my goal is just to basically leave all this peacefully, sell the home, and not have to have any issues again. Again, I'm not here to cause any problems. I am a business owner in Tarpon Springs, and I support the community.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe at this time I'm going to close the public hearing portion of the case, and we can discuss it amongst ourselves.
Do we get to ask some questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question of the,
yeah, they didn't, I had asked a question. He had asked if anybody else had questions, and nobody said anything.
I didn't
so-
I didn't hear that.
Oh, I don't think I
All
said
right.
that, I imagine.
Okay.
So at this time, go ahead, we'll start with Wanda, she asked.
I have questions for both parties. What are you looking for? Do we want to get some kind of a fine for, and how much? What are,
I gave it to him. He's looking for a 2-day violation. It was a maximum
okay.
fine and a minimum
all
fine.
right, and my question for you is, when they offered that evidence to you, you said that you didn't agree with it? Because on that one paper, it confirms that you confirmed 1 week stay to the people that
But
came.
again, it was inaccurate in that it didn't document all the phone calls prior to it that after I booked it, then they asked if they could revise it down because they didn't need to stay for the whole
But it
time.
looks to me like that paper is sent by you to the renters confirming that they can come for just 1 week. And I think that supersedes any phone calls. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Plum?
Okay, now,
Yes,
okay.
first of all, I'd like to answer a question that you had, and then I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
It says the last repeat violated case was from 9/25/14 to 10/30/14. And it says the fine amount was $10 per day. Did you pay that $10 per day?
The only violation I remember in that time frame was my ad wasn't conforming. That was what I had talked to Cindy about, and that's what, there was a hearing scheduled, and I was in compliance, and that was what ended it. So that was the violation I know of that happened prior to this, was my
Okay,
advertising.
So you're agreeing that it was a violation?
It was a violation of the advertising,
I want to know
yes.
if you paid the $10 a day fine from 9/25 to 10/30.
No, I never received a bill or anything on that. And again, unfortunately, even Cindy had understood, I changed that ad right when I had received the memo. She didn't recheck my ad until a couple days before the hearing. So it was in compliance, but she hadn't seen it.
Well, I don't see anything here that indicates that you paid the fine.
No, and I never received a bill for the fine. I don't know where you would have sent it.
I don't know if you receive a bill or not, or it's just, heard here at the code enforcement, and the fine is placed upon you and is subject to you for, as I understand it, for you to pay the fine and, or at least know what happened at the code enforcement and know that you will fine $10 a day, which looks to me to be about 35 days, which would be $350 in my simple math.
Right, again, my conversation with Cindy a couple days prior to the hearing was that I was in compliance and I didn't need to come in. I didn't come in to even know there was a bill on there. If you see it, there was, I wasn't here at the hearing. The case was not even on the books according to my conversation with Cindy because I was in compliance. She checked the ad, she saw that it was compliant, and she said the hearing wasn't to have me attend. So I never even have been to this except for now and the time I was here with Mayor Archie back in.
Did you know why you were a repeat violator?
Yes, the ad. The ads are difficult to navigate because in the ad written all through the body, if you see a sample, it said 6 week. But what Cindy didn't like was that on the calendar, it said 4 week because VRBO only allows 4-week intervals. So I had a choice of doing 4 week, stating that it's 6 weeks, or I do 8 week, which is longer. So
Well,
I did the 4 week, and she said that was in violation. So I changed the ad. It was purely a website issue because all through the body it said 6 weeks
Well,
as of last summer.
According to these dates, that would be 5 weeks.
Which dates?
9/25/14 to 10/30/14.
Well, that's a different issue. I'm talking about on the website for booking the case and for booking the visits. It was allowing a 4-week calendar selection when Cindy said it needed to be at least 6. And so I changed it from 4 weeks to 8 weeks just to be in compliance. It was all had to do with my ad for VRBO. Had nothing else to do with it, and that's why when I talked to her, I think the hearing was in November, mid-November. I talked to her just prior.
Right.
And she said, no, you're compliant. There's no need to come in. And that was it. I never had received anything from her or anybody else.
I think I'm going to interrupt is we're rehearing a repeat violation or a pass. Let's stay on topic for this.
Well,
this
that's what it
particular- I
says
think-
here,
Did
repeat
he answer your
violation.
question?
Well,
Okay,
you
does
answered the
anyone else have
question,
any
but not to my
questions?
satisfaction.
Of either the city or Mr. Sarkis?
I
Would someone like to make a motion?
would. I move based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented, and law that the respondent was in violation of section 241.00 definition, 213 tourist home, and 25.02 single-family residential district of the Tarpon Springs Code of Ordinances from, March 20th, 2015 through March 22nd, 2015. The initial inspection date, all right, I'm sorry, from March 25th, 2015, the initial inspection date until compliance on March 22nd, 2015, a fine of $100 per day for 2 days is imposed for a total fine of $200.
Isn't that 3 days, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd? It's 3 days, I believe.
I'm sorry, 23 days, $300 per day for,
Wouldn't it be the 20th through the 1st is 1 day, 21st through the 22nd is 2 days? No?
Officer, can you give us some clarification, or someone give us some clarification? When I see 20 through 22, to
that's
me,
3
that's
days.
3 days.
Yeah,
I
it
think we
is.
can provide our own clarification.
I
Right.
I
You're correct, it's
misspoke.
3 days.
So I take it back, it's for a fine of $300 per day for 3 days,
A second?
100.
Is it $100 per day for
Eight.
3 days, a total of $300, just so we're all clear? Is that
Yeah,
what the motion was?
sorry, yes, it is.
Okay.
Is there a second? So we don't have a second, so the motion fails, and is there any discussion, or would someone like to pose an additional motion?
Can we discuss?
Yes, ma'am.
If
Once
it's
you
okay.
have a motion, you have to have a motion on the floor to discuss.
Okay, sorry.
So does the motion stay open? Are we allowed to discuss further?
No,
No.
there is no motion, it
dead.
failed, it's
Okay.
dead. So we need
I'll
to
make a
vote.
motion.
Okay.
I move, based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law, that at the time of the alleged violation, sections 241.00 definitions, 213 tourist home, and code 25.02 single-family residential district was in force. And for the 3 days in question in this case, the 20th through the 22nd of March, I propose a fine of $50 per day for each of the, for each day that there was a violation.
May I have a second? Well, would another board member like to? We can't have any discussion without a motion.
I know.
Where do you read that?
Right here.
First,
I couldn't
I'll
say
make a motion,
so we
Mr.
can
Chairman.
discuss.
Pardon me, sir?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Plunkett.
I move based on testimony, evidence, facts presented in law, that at the time of the alleged violation, section 241.00 of the Code of Ordinances, the city of Tarpon Spring was in force.
We need to get that other code section in there too, Mr. Plunkett.
Yeah, okay.
They're combined. You have to
Okay,
have both of them in
and
there.
25.02, as until,
Actually, there's 3 pages back in your book is the correct
oh, the
form.
repeat violator, I'm sorry, I didn't get that, got the other one, not the
It
repeat
is a repeat,
violator.
but we're incomplete.
Thank you. I move based on
Right, and
testimony,
this is
evidence,
for the-
facts presented in law that the respondent was in violation of section 241, excuse me, 241.00 and 25.02 of the Tarpon Springs Code of Ordinance from the 20th of March to the 22nd of March, the initial inspection date. A fine of $200 per day for the days is imposed for a total fine of $600.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm not sure why it took us 3 motions to get here, but the reason that I was going the direction that I was, is because it doesn't sound to me like this respondent has paid the first fine,
It doesn't.
and he rented it for a week. He confirmed in an email that he rented it for a week, and so I really think he needs to be fined, and that's why I went with the 100, but I'm fine with even more, because he rented it for a week and he hasn't paid the other fine.
Well, that's why I went to 200.
Okay?
Because I can't be certain that that first fine was paid, nor can I be certain, except from hearsay from Mr. Sarkis, that Cindy said something. It's just, she's not here to say whether she did or she didn't. So that's why I upped it to $200 a day.
Ms. Dabbs, did you have something to add?
I'm just wondering whose responsibility it was to get the bills out, and how are they normally sent out if you have a fine?
Well,
Do you just volunteer and come in, or does the city remind you that there is a fine?
The way it works is that once this code enforcement board makes a decision, an order is prepared. It's an actual order, a code enforcement board order, and it would have been mailed to him, and it would have been mailed to him by regular U.S. mail. That would have told him that the money is due. On a quarterly basis, the city sends out reminders to property owners, usually, that the fine has been unpaid and is outstanding. I'm not sure if the city has done that since the original order went out, but that's the normal process. It's not a bill, it's a board order. Yeah.
Well, we have someone here from the office. They're not able to tell us if those reminders went out.
The public portion of the hearing was closed already.
Oh, I don't mean.
And it really has no relevance to the case. Whether he has violated it now or not violated has nothing to do with whether he paid a bill in the past or not. I mean, given the benefit of the doubt that it was paid, because it has really nothing to do with this case.
Right.
Well, doesn't it have something to do with the case and the fact that it's a repeat violation?
What you have to
I
do
mean,
to
there wouldn't be a repeat violation if he hadn't done it before, is that not?
Right, there's the two issues. Was he found in violation before? Yes. That's how you can create, this is the second repeat. The first time, and then the repeat, and now this is the second repeat. So that's important, and that's why the police officer brought that to your attention, because you have to make a determination that he was found in violation within a 5-year period of time of the exact same code violations to make that, but it doesn't matter whether he's paid the fine or not. That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, okay. I can understand what you're saying.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask you to call for a vote on the motion.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Before we get to your vote, I'm sorry, I have a question. Well, Ms. Dabbs, she'll be part of our voting procedure today, correct?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, absolutely.
Thank you, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure. Thank you.
She's our alternate sitting in a regular position today.
Thank you. Ms. Dabbs?
No.
Mr.
Miss-
Plunkett?
Yes.
No.
I can't hardly hear anybody, so I don't know if the volume's even turned up here today, but it's
So
awful.
Ms. Dabbs voted no?
She voted no.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Plunkett voted yes. Mr. Demasis?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
No,
Okay. Ms. Vicasey?
Yes.
Mr. Vesey?
No.
Motion carried.
Motion carries 4-3.
Thank you very much, everyone. Affidavits of noncompliance.
Oh,
I move we accept the affidavits of noncompliance in case 13200000046, in case 14-80000757.
second.
Okay, before we jump in here, there are people in the audience. What case are you here on?
The reduction?
Fine reduction case?
Yeah.
Okay, we're up there
Okay,
yet.
all right. So I just want to make sure, before they accepted these affidavits, that you weren't here on either one of those two cases they just mentioned. 2116 Harbor Watch Drive, you're not here for that case. or 1540 Big Bass Drive? Okay. Thanks. Sorry.
We got it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And against? The ayes carry.
Affidavits of compliance in case 13200000040. Affidavit of compliance in case 14-800000829.
Second.
Pick up the third one, too.
You have a
And there's another one I see just showed up here. Affidavit of compliance in case 15-800000112.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? And the ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, moving on to old business, request for reduction in fine. Case 14-800000693 East Oakwood Street. Is there anyone in the office for that? In the audience?
Offense.
Gentlemen, please come down to our table. I believe you were sworn in? Yes, sir. Super. And if you would,
East Oakwood Street.
East Oakwood. Okay.
Now, remember now, you don't take testimony. This is based solely upon the written petition. This is a request for a reduction of fine.
Just discuss.
We can get them to state their name.
Well,
That's
would you
important.
go ahead and state your name and address into the microphone for us, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Calvary Reed, 715 East Lime Street.
I can't hear a thing.
Thank you.
I can't hear
Calvary
a thing.
Reed, he's the owner?
Yes, sir.
He's the one on the sheet showing over to the right on the new property owner name.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
I'm Leslie Lawrence, his uncle, and I'm the one that encouraged him to buy the place without knowing the ramification behind it.
And we got your letter, and we're going to read that and do our work here, okay?
Okay, sir.
Does everyone have a copy of the
Yes.
letter of?
I got one, but I forgot it, so, but that's all right. I read it all over.
I think this is one of the first cases where we had somebody actually send us that paperwork. That's impressive. You know, we usually have to beg to find out what's going on.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to say thank you for taking the time to write the letter and submit the documentation that we requested. Thanks.
You want to have this?
Seen it yet, but they're probably gonna have
I just want the street address.
Because these can be a touch complicated, I'm going to take the liberty of pointing out to the board members that this property is in compliance. There is a recommendation for a fine from the city. I'd like to second Wanda's comments, Ms. Vacase's comments, that it's rare that a plaintiff has provided the proper documentation, and that I'd encourage that perhaps that was reflected in our final finding.
Can I ask a question? I have the document that, Mr. Reed's letter, but I'm not sure. Can you tell me what the original fine was and what the request is?
Original fine is $3,700.
Okay, can you?
Say that again, please?
where the-
It's not on there.
Okay, it's not in there. Okay, well, I didn't want to guess at what it was. All right. And what,
And the city's recommending $250 administrative
Okay.
costs.
all right.
And I believe, the way that I understand it is that the gentleman inherited that fine, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Okay, so he purchased the property and inherited the fine, and then did the cleaning of the property, brought it into compliance, and has made a request.
I would like to make a motion that we reduce the fine to $250, and it will go back to the original $3,000,
$3,700.
$3,700 if it's not paid within 60 days.
Second.
Second.
Everybody second.
You want to take a,
That's administrative costs, we can't get under that.
200?
Oh,
We do have some discussion, Ms. Dabbs? Did you?
No, I didn't hear her clearly.
I'm sorry. I recommended that we reduce the fine to $250, which was the city's recommendation. And as always, we give them 60 days to pay that, or it reverts back to the original amount of $3,700.
Oh, okay.
I did want to add that although that is the city recommendation as the administrative costs, it is up to us to decide as it could be $1 if we so choose.
Okay.
That's just a recommendation by the city. We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Ms. Dabbs?
Yes.
Mr. Plunkett?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Ms. Vacason?
Yes.
Mr. Vesey?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
The board has brought the lowest possible fine that we could at $250.
Okay, and one thing that I wanted to ask, the letter for the bill will be mailed to us so that we won't have that problem as in the prior case.
No.
I sign it myself. Yes, it will.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thanks for coming.
Well,
You're welcome.
Thanks for the candy, you guys.
I would like to call for the approval of minutes for,
I move to approve the minutes for the February meeting.
is that the only one we had?
Yes,
Okay, any second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
It carries. Any public comments?
No public here.
Any board or staff comments?
Adjourn.
2:42, I adjourn April 9th, 2015 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
God, these chairs, I'm gonna come up here with just the right guy.
My wife let me have the car.
Oh, you have the car. Oh, you drove yourself. Okay, everyone.
Yeah, so